variable that depends on another, okay? This y and what happens with our y is completely dependent upon the key that we hit. One key will move our y up, and one key will move our y down, okay? When that's the case, that's when we have to use a conditional. So we're ready to go. All right. So update player. I kind of started a little bit the contract. Actually, I did quite a bit of work here. I'm just going to go off this piece right now. So our name of update is update player, and this is a function they already wrote the name in for you, which is nice. They actually have the domain for you already, and they give you that. It takes in a number that we're going to call key, and it takes in a number that we're going to call y. And then it produces a number, and that's your next y value, okay? Now the reason why it takes in y is because that's the only way your computer knows where your player is. So then we need to understand what the key is. And every keyboard, the computer has no idea that the S key is what it is, okay? But essentially, just to simplify things, is your computer's already programmed so that when you hit key code, let's say it's 22, every time you hit key code 22, it's going to make the string S. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay? So depending on what key you hit will determine which letter appears. But the computer only knows the keys for the key code. So when we're talking about hitting the up arrow and expecting our player to go up, the computer has no idea it's the up arrow, okay? But it does know that the key code that we're looking for is key code 38. So when we hit the up arrow, the computer immediately says, oh, that's key code 38, okay? So what we have to do is we have to create a conditional that says, when we hit key code 38, we want something to happen to our player. And when we hit key code 40, we want something to happen to our player. So here's what it looks like. I abbreviated update player as UP. Okay? So update player, it takes in a key and a Y. The key we're starting off with is 38, that's our up key. And our Y is going to start off right now at 200. So our player stands right here, right at 200 at the very beginning, okay? And to be honest with you, a lot of times you have to make a move right off the bat. Your player's got to move somewhere, right? So we're going to say that we hit the up key, and we want our player to move from right here to right here, okay? So we do that. When we hit key 38 and our Y is 200, what we want to have happen is we need to have our Y value increase. Because as you move up the number line, what happens to number values? They get bigger, greater, sure. And as you move down the number line, guess what? It decreases, it gets smaller. So we're going to use that exact thing in our game, okay? The result, we want the computer to take in our current Y and add 10. Then when we hit key 40, and I just put us in, so we move from 200 to 210. I would say we want to hit the down arrow. The down arrow is key 40. So when we hit key 40, we want it to take in the current Y and then subtract 10. And that's what's going to get our player to move down on the Y-axis. So what happens is we have to actually set up the conditional. And you guys did Luigi's Pizza, where you typed in a string for topping, and it produced a price. And then you worked on some images where you could type in the name of an image, like the string square, and we wanted it to produce a square. So we used the string equals function. Well, unfortunately, since key is a number, we're not going to use a string equals function. We just use the equals function. And in our definition, we have to use a conditional. We say, when my key is equal to 38, we want it to take in any Y, whatever Y that we're at, and add 10. And then we have to do the same thing for key code 40. When my key is equal to 40, we wanted to take in our y and subtract 10. Now, most kids are putting in, there's an else clause. And thank goodness there's an else clause, because if you leave that empty and you hit any other key, do you know what would happen to your game? It would crash. You're right. It would crash. So we put in a simple else, and many of you just put in y as the else. That means if you hit any key, let's just say you hit the space bar, it's going to stay right at the current y spot. Okay? It won't do anything. But if you really understand the else clause, you can start creating, like, you could teleport, for instance. So you could say else 450. And where's 450 on your screen? Where'd your player be at 450?
Far away.
What do you mean far away? Explain.
Like off the street.
It is. It's off the right up here. You wouldn't be able to see your player, right? Wouldn't that be cool to be able to just hit one button and boom, it's gone? I mean, like, there's some times where your danger's moving across so fast that you can't get up fast enough, right? You hit the up key and you're still gonna get smushed, right? Wouldn't it be nice to have like a little teleport where you could just hit a button and boom, you're gone. You're up to 450.
I wish.
Well, you can do it. All you have to do is
Oh,
use.
I wish I could teleport.
All you have to do is.
I know.
Oh, in programming we could do it.
Teleport.
Okay. Same thing. You could create other key codes. And let's say, like right now, I'm moving up 10 or moving down 10. You could, if you Google JavaScript key codes, it will give you a key code for each one of the keys. You could do the exact same thing and say, let's use key code 22. And when I have key code 22 and my current Y, instead of adding 10, maybe you want to add 50. So now instead of moving up 10 pixels, we're moving up 5 times as many pixels. We're moving up very quick. You could do that. So it's just some simple add-ons. So some of you, like, you know, you could make the second version of your actual game and go in and edit that piece. And some of you who are maybe on App Lab or doing things that have completed your game, if you want to go back and improve your game, you can. Just put that on your progress report. Here's what I did. Here's what I added. Put a date. Here's my new link. And you're good to go. All right. So hopefully we have a good idea of what update player is. But the key thing is we have to use that conditional. And the direction that your player goes depends completely on what key. When that happens, you have to use a conditional. All right?